Good to see all of you today. Let's go ahead and just come to a nice comfortable seat in your chair. As you're setting up here, you can just peek down, make sure that you're landing with your knees over your ankles, so your legs are about hip distance apart. Before we sit quietly for a moment, let's go ahead and give the shoulders a little roll out. And you can switch directions here. Let's roll back again. And then let the shoulders roll back. The shoulder heads gently squeeze in towards each other and then release down towards your sit bones. That's going to help you to find that openness across your heart and chest. So there's a little sense of our cobra pose in our upper body as we're sitting here. And then you can allow your eyelids to close. Nice deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. Let's take a nice deep inhale. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out. Ha. And then you can allow your lips to seal. You're going to start to inhale through your nose and then also exhale through your nose. You're going to hear that sound of your breath. You might kind of make that a little stronger by constricting the sides of your throat. So you start to hear that sound. It's that sound you get when you're fogging a mirror with your breath. It's kind of that Darth Vader sound or the sound of ocean waves rolling in and out. So if you're doing this, this is our Ujjayi breath. It has more of a heating quality. Helps to warm up the body. It's also just this nice focal point for our attention. So we can listen to that breath. All of the other sounds start to just kind of drift into the background. You're going to notice from time to time your attention wanders, you get distracted. That's okay. When you become aware of that, you just gently remind yourself to return to that sound of your breath and bring your gaze inward. So you're observing physically how you feel. You might be observing emotionally how you're feeling today. What's your headspace like? You're allowing for everything. Not necessarily trying to change anything. More just taking note of what's going on. As you're sitting here for a couple more moments, perhaps notice if your shoulders have started to creep up around your ears, if there's a little tension there. If that's true, see if you can soften them down. As you allow that to happen, though, keep lengthening through the sides of your waist. So we have this simple posture here. Simple does not mean easy. So there's a lot of core support. There's a lot of lengthening, extension in the spine happening. So you inhale and exhale, you're going to notice how there's that expansion of the rib cage and then that contraction. And let's take one more deep inhale here together. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, ha. And then you can gently blink your eyes open here. And because it's spring, and because I know that Chris is a really big fan of our lion's breath, our lion's roar, let's go ahead and do one of those. So I can demo it for you first. I'm gonna look absolutely ridiculous. That's part of the fun. But basically we're taking a nice deep inhale. So I'm gonna fill up, and then I'm gonna open up my mouth. I'm gonna stick out my tongue. I'm gonna bulge my eyes, and I'm gonna make the biggest growl that I can. So we can all do that together. No one can hear you. So go ahead, take a nice deep inhale. And growl. So always a good breath to make you feel a little playful, to kind of give you a little bit of energy. So I hope that felt nice. From there, let's go ahead and start to move into our just basic cat-cow. So we're gonna start to warm up the spine. So your hands are on your thighs. You're gonna inhale, rock forward on your sit bones. You're gonna find this arch in your lower back. And then as we exhale, we're gonna go in the opposite direction. We're gonna round in, chin drops towards chest. And then you continue like this. And you're moving with your own breath today. So simple little vinyasa happening. Connecting movement with breath, finding this rhythm in our bodies. You can almost think of cat-cow as like this full body stim. For a lot of us, this feels really, really kind of calming. In addition to warming up the spine, moving with the breath like this has this really nice meditative feeling. Welcome, Jim and Tim. We are just starting some cat-cow here, if you're just joining. I'm going to just take several more rounds. You're always welcome to move faster. That can be really nice if you're feeling a little lethargic, you need a little mid-afternoon pick-me-up. Conversely, if you're feeling a little anxious, a little wound up, maybe you slow your breath down. Good. So from here, we're going to just start to transition into some hip circles. These are really more like pelvic girdle circles, but you might feel some stretch in the hips as you go one direction and then the other. And just notice how this posture, this movement has a very different feeling tone than that back and forth of the cat-cow. Kind of stretches into some different places. But again, it can feel really kind of calming to move like this. Of course, this is a really nice, wonderful, gentle way to begin to warm up the body. From here, let's start to switch directions. Really nice work, everyone. And then let's come back to our seat. It looks like my camera's having a hard time focusing here. Sorry about that. Release your hands down, right and away. We're going to just move into a little more flow. So inhale, stretch that right arm up and over. Exhale, release. And then inhale, leaning to the left as you stretch your right arm up and over. Exhale, release. A little side to side stretching. Finding lots of length, the side of the body, the arm that's reaching up. Again, enjoying how it feels to flow side to side. Simple movement with the breath. Good. So the next time you are leaning off to your right, just hang out there for a moment. Keep breathing, inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your nose. Notice if those shoulders are creeping up, especially that right one. Just soften it down your back. Notice if your left sit bone's getting really light. Can you anchor there a little more? And then maybe there's this sense, this feeling of wrapping your right ribs up towards that left arm ever so gently. So there's a subtle twist here. Good. Exhale, release that left arm down, and then inhale, right arm comes up and over, and we hold here. Shoulder blades gently squeezing in towards each other. Left shoulder nice and relaxed. Anchoring down into that right sit bone. Little twist, left ribs wrap up towards that right arm. Good, deep inhale. Exhale, release. Take a couple of breaths here, finding that Tadasana, that nice tall mountain pose. So pressing down into your sit bones. That anchoring feeling helps you to lengthen through the sides of your waist. Let's inhale, take the arms out wide. And then we're going to do a little twisting. So exhale, tiny little twist to the right. You're really generating this movement in the upper body. Inhale back to center. Exhale, twist to the left. Inhale, we come back to center. A couple more to each side. Exhale to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale to the left. Good. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. And then exhale, left. Inhale, center. And then this time we exhale, right. Stretch out. Feel that lift of your sternum. Think cobra pose. And then release hands down. Your left hand can come to your left thigh. If twists are a little easier in your body, it might come to the outside of your right thigh. They're both good places to be. We're just looking to find a little leverage so we can press that left shoulder head back as we wrap those left ribs to the right any amount. So simple twist. Again, simple doesn't mean easy. A lot of things happening here, a lot of things going on in your body, a lot of places where you may be feeling the sensation. So you're just noticing that. You're also coming back to that sound of your breath, inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your nose. Inhaling for length. Exhaling to feel grounded and steady. Good. Let's inhale, untwist, come back to center. Take an exhale here. And then inhale, arms reach out again. Exhale, twist to the left. Stretch out. Find those giant wings and then go ahead and release hands down. So left hand behind you, shoulder blade releasing down your back. Right hand can be on right thigh or left thigh. Anchoring down into those sit bones. That's like your base by which you twist. Maybe noticing how it feels to inhale here in a twist. So things get a little constricted. Keeping those shoulders nice and relaxed. And as those shoulder blades squeeze in towards each other, it helps you to find a little more momentum to lift your sternum up towards the ceiling, even if it's just like a millimeter more. Deep inhale. And then exhale, we unwind, we come back to center. Good, so let's come into some warrior two poses, so some hip opening poses. So we're gonna start on our right side. So we're looking for any amount of external rotation in this right leg. So you could also, as always, stay right where you're at, but maybe you can play with slowly opening up this right leg. So we're getting into this hip. This is a hip opening pose. Just make sure that you're landing with your right knee over your right ankle. And then with your left leg, you could stay here with the knee bent. That works. For some of us, that feels more stable. You might take your left leg simply straight out in front of you. And then if you're looking for the more classic version of the pose and it feels okay and stable in your body to do this, maybe you stretch your left leg off to the side. If you're doing that, however, you're rolling to the inner edge of that left foot. So this right leg is externally rotated, this left leg is neutral. So the two legs are doing different things. All right, so then the other thing that happens here is that sometimes we bring our torso to face that right knee. We might do that. We might do more of a warrior pose. But for today, for our warrior two, we are looking to square our torso to the camera in front of you. So all of these opposite little things happening in your body, it's a lot. From here, we're going to inhale, take the arms out wide. So wrists in line with shoulders, and it feels really counterintuitive. But if you can kind of engage the muscles in your arms and you can really feel those shoulder blades squeeze in towards each other, it becomes much easier to hold the arms up. And then finally, keep your torso facing forward, but just bring your gaze out over your right fingertips. And that gaze is soft and gentle. I mean, it's almost, moving towards being blurred a little bit. So it's almost like just as we do with sound at the beginning of our practice, how, the background sounds sort of drift away. We almost want all of like the stuff in our periphery to drift away as well. So it's just this gentle, single-minded focus. Let's inhale, bring your gaze back to center. Flip your palms up towards the ceiling or the sky if you're practicing outside. Inhale, reach the arms up and over. Good, and then keep reaching through that right hand. Just release your left arm down. Good, deep inhale. And then exhale. It's that feeling that we had when we were side bending. You could take your left hand to your leg or thigh if that feels better. We're finding a little side bend here in our Virabhadrasana 2. Can you keep that right shoulder blade releasing down? Inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your nose. You might be spinning your head to look up underneath that top arm if it feels okay to do so. These look really good. As we inhale, we find our Virabhadrasana 2 again. And then exhale, you're going to lengthen through this right side of your waist. You're going to bring hand or forearm to that right thigh. Extend up through that left arm. And then go ahead and reach that left arm up and over your ear. So we come into our side angle pose, Parsvakonasana. With this left forearm, you might even kind of press that, your right forearm, you might press that right thigh back so you'll get even more hip opening. I always say that this pose is an acquired taste. It's challenging. You might be bringing your gaze up. Good. As you inhale, let's just find our Virabhadrasana 2, one breath. And then let's exhale, release the hands down by your sides. So if you have that left leg off to the side or extended out in front of you, you can bring it back to center first, and then you can make your right leg kind of bring it back in. So we return to our Tadasana pose, so our home base. And as we move into the second side, know that it might look different than the other side. So we have different things going on in our bodies. Week to week, day to day, our yoga practice can feel different. So start to find any amount of hip opening in that left thigh if you're moving in that direction. And again, the important thing to remember is just keeping your left knee over your left ankle. Would also be okay if the left ankle is slightly ahead of your knee, particularly if you have any knee issues going on. The one thing that's going to be really intense is to have that knee over your ankle. That kind of just gets into different areas. And for longer holds, it can be a little intense. All right. So again, you can keep your right knee exactly as it is, basically in this Tadasana. You might extend the leg to straight, see how that feels. Some of us might open up this right leg and then spin to the inner edge of that right foot. So again, external rotation in the left leg, neutral rotation in the back leg. And then just notice, is your torso turning out over that left thigh? Square it forward. Beautiful. And then you can release your hands down. Inhale. Firm muscle to bone in your arms. Good. And really reach through your fingertips. So you're taking up lots of space. You're inhaling through your nose. You're exhaling through your nose. Torso stays exactly the same. As we exhale, we start to bring that gaze over our left fingertips. And again, it's just kind of soft. Maybe bring your attention to how it feels when you're inhaling and finding that expansion of your rib cage. And then exhaling, everything contracts in. Observe if your shoulders are starting to creep up around your ears. Inhale, bring your gaze back to center, and then flip your palms to face up. We're going to inhale, reach the arms up overhead. So keep reaching straight up through that left hand. You can release your right hand down. And then deep inhale here. Exhale, find your side bend in your upper body. So it's going to feel different with the legs in a different configuration. You might get more sensation. It might go into some interesting places. So you're aware of that. And again, this right fingertips can be reaching straight down. You can have hand on thigh, shin. Just be really gentle around that knee joint. There's a little twist here. Right ribs are spinning up towards the ceiling. Maybe you're gazing up underneath that top arm. So a reverse warrior pose. Such a lovely pose. Think rooting into your sit bones. Think a little core to help you inhale. Come back up to your Virabhadrasana 2. And then we make our way back into our Parsvakonasana, or extended side angle pose. So we've got this, we're going to hinge at this left hip crease, and then hand or forearm comes to that left thigh. And again, you might be able to just use the strength of your arm to press that left thigh back. It's going to help you to find a little more hip opening. And then we take that right arm up overhead. So Utthita means extended. This is the extended part. You can see we have this nice long line from the fingertips down to the back edge of that right foot. Little check-in with your breath, make sure it's moving. Good, again, kind of engage the core, root into your sit bones as you inhale, Virabhadrasana 2. Exhale, release your hands down. Nice work. Let's bring this right leg back and then the left. So we return to our mountain pose. And we're going to get into the neck a little. So we're going to stretch there. So start to drop your chin towards your chest. The shoulders love to help out here, especially if your neck's feeling really tight. So soften the shoulders down. If you're finding that to be very difficult, you might need to just back out a little bit. So lift your chin a little bit until the muscles in the back of the neck start to release. And you might just think of your breath as like massaging those muscles in the back of your neck and helping to loosen things up. Let's keep our chin tucked like this, but then moving nice and slow, taking several breaths. You're gonna make that little quarter turn to the right. So you're eventually bringing your right ear towards your right shoulder with your chin tucked. But as you're making your way there, you're gonna find places and start to feel things on the left side of your neck, those scaling muscles. There's going to be some places where it might be a little uncomfortable, but it might feel like a good place to sort of pause and take a few breaths because you're getting an intense stretch. So you're kind of just encouraging muscles to release, to open up, to lengthen a little bit. More breaths here. If you wanted to release your left fingertips towards the floor, that might just give you a little more spice in the pose. All right, you can take your left fingertips, your palm back on your thigh, come back to center again. And then let's inhale, lift the chin. So without the tuck this time, exhale, drop right ear towards right shoulder. Right away, my right shoulder always wants to like help out. So just make sure that that shoulder blade is releasing down. You're going to notice it is a subtle difference, but you are feeling, you know, a different stretch here. You're welcome to release that left hand from your thigh. You can always try out these variations. Give them a whirl if they're not working on any given day. You just come back to where you were. And then you might take your right hand on top of your head, so just applying a little gentle pressure, just enough, not too much. Breath smooth and steady. And regardless of whether or not you're doing this variation that I'm in right now, let's all just take our right palm to our cheek. Use the strength of your arm to upright your head. Good. Hands return to thighs. Deep inhale. And then as you exhale, you drop your chin towards your chest. You keep those shoulder blades releasing down and gently squeezing in towards each other. So Stretching into the back of the neck again. Maybe it's already feeling a little easier. Might be a little more space. And keeping your chin tucked, we're gonna make that journey off to the left side. So that little quarter turn, but there's no rush. You're taking the scenic route. You're stopping to take pictures. So when things get interesting, you just remember there's no rush. I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna breathe into the sensation and explore it a little bit. I notice that you're feeling things in that right side of your neck, the scalings, the back of the shoulder. If you want a little more here, release hand, right hand off right thigh. Good, keep the chin tucked. Come back to center. Inhale, lift your chin. And then exhale, without the tuck this time, just drop your left ear towards your left shoulder. And notice how the sensation shifts, where you're getting the stretch shifts. Inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your nose. Perhaps releasing your right fingertips down again. Perhaps bringing your left palm to the top of your head, just applying a little gentle pressure. And we're all going to just use our left hand. So the palm comes to the cheek. Use the strength of your arm to upright your head. Release left hand down. Let's roll the shoulders out again. Maybe they're feeling a little different this time around. And then let's move into a few of our Ardha Surya Namaskaras, our half sun salutes, after which we're going to do some more hip stretching with some forward folding as well. So if you do have blocks, this is a great time to get those set up on either side of your feet. And blocks are great because we have the 3 different heights that you can use. If you don't have them, don't worry about it. You can refresh your posture here. Just make sure that you're landing with your legs about hips distance apart, your knees over your ankles, rooting down into those sit bones, lengthening tall through the sides of your waist. You can release your arms down by your sides. So little external rotation at the shoulder sockets here. Thumbs are kind of spinning almost to face back behind you. From here, your options are to reach out and up or forward and up. Kind of depends on your space and what feels best in your body. Let's take a couple of breaths here. We'll just break this first one down nice and slow. You might feel that lift of your sternum up towards the ceiling. You might even bring your gaze up. From here, we're going to exhale into our deep forward fold, our Uttanasana. You could swan dive in. If that feels stable, you might take your hands to your thighs, roll on down, and your fingertips might be on blocks here. Your chin is releasing towards your chest, so we're coming into a forward fold. So we're flexing the spine, we're in flexion here. On your next inhale, this is where blocks might be really nice. So you can press your palms flat into the block and extend forward. So we come back into extension of the spine, a back bend. You can see that this kind of looks like a seated version of cobra pose. And if you don't have blocks, if you're watching this at home, hands on shins or thighs works really well too. From here, we fold back in to that Uttanasana. And take a few breaths. And then we are going to either roll on up using your hands, or you can do that reverse swan dive up. You can always mix and match these. This is part of the reason they're so fun. We're reaching up, maybe gazing up, as palms. And then as you exhale, hands come to heart center. So we're going to put that all together, one movement per breath. So we're going to find a little flow. So let's release arms by our sides, little external rotation. Inhale, reach up. As you exhale, fold in. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold back in. These look fantastic. As we inhale, we make our way back into our extended mountain pose. Maybe gaze up, press palms. And then exhale, you can take your arms out wide or bring palms down the center. Both are really good. We're going to do a few more of these. Inhale, reaching. Exhaling, folding in. Let these feel really fluid. Let them feel graceful in your body. Inhale, find that extension. Exhale into your flexion. And then rooting down so you can rise up, take up lots of space. And exhale, hands come to heart center. So I'm not going to cue you for these next two. You're just going to move on your own. You can follow along with me if you want. Maybe your pace is a little different than mine. It's also just really nice to hear your breath. Zero rush as you're moving through these. You're done with your second round. You're just going to pause in your mountain pose, palms together your heart, close your eyes. Check in with your breath again. Find that rhythm of your inhale and your exhale. Notice how you're feeling. Here we're gonna blink our eyes open, release our hands down. So we're gonna turn to hip opening again. You're gonna keep your blocks handy. You might kind of scoot them slightly forward. So options are to return to some version of these warrior two legs. This time we're gonna keep this left knee bent, so as it is, or conversely, you might take your right ankle and cross it above your left knee. So they're both good stretches. This one that I'm in is probably a little more intense for most of us, and challenging if you have knee things going on. So if that's you, be here in your warrior two legs. If you're here, you can take your right hand into your thigh. You're pressing back behind you. And that's going to help you to find some hip glute stretch. In this variation too, I find that I get a lot more like inner thigh stretch, which can be kind of nice. And if you are in the seated pigeon pose, you can press down. You might not need to. We're just taking several breaths here. So hips get really, really tight. So if this feels uncomfortable, know that you're like normal. Do a little less if you need to. And just as we did at the back of our neck, maybe just visualize your breath coming to this outer right hip. It's creating a little space, a little ease. It's kind of massaging everything out. Maybe check in with your face and jaw, especially if poses are challenging in our bodies. We start to clench the teeth a little bit. So you want to keep a sense of relaxation there. So whatever variation you're in, before we come into our forward fold, let's inhale, take the arms out wide. Exhale, we're gonna find a little twist again. So twisting to the right. And then exhale, release hands down. So this variation that I'm in, you have a lot of like places where you might land with that left hand. If you're here, probably you're just gonna keep your hand on that left thigh. Unless twisting is feels really good in your body and is really easy. Shoulder blades are squeezing in towards each other. They're gently releasing down towards your sit bones. Got that lift of the sternum. So again, cobra pose. Deep inhale. Exhale, unwind, come to center. From here, we're going to start to take a forward fold. So this is going to look really, really different for all of us. As we start to hinge forward at the hips here, you're going to get a lot more stretch. So you might be right here in feeling sensation. We're going to hold this for like a good minute. So perhaps eventually you can start to fold in a little more. Again, these blocks are great. You can play with the height. They're just a means of bringing the floor a little closer to you. Feel free to release your neck. So chin is gently dropping towards your chest. We've got a few more breaths here. Are you gripping anywhere that you don't need to? Soften in those places. And then let's go ahead and inhale, lengthen forward so you can kind of, it's like, think Ardha Uttanasana in this forward fold, so lengthening. And then bring your hands back to your legs, keep your back nice and flat. As you inhale, come on up, good work. All right, so we're gonna go to the second side, so depending on where you're at, just revisit your Tadasana, your mountain pose. And again, just know that this side might look different. You might be doing a different variation, so you can find that warrior two leg here. Take that left hand, press that. If needed, if you're feeling a good stretch here, you can skip this part. Or maybe you are in this seated pigeon pose, so crossing that left ankle above your right knee. Again, we never want knee pain in this pose, so a good way to help prevent that too is to flex this left foot. You might be taking your left hand and gently pressing down. And then side to side, we're so different. So how does this side feel in your body? Some days it can be like a pretty major discrepancy. So just noticing, this is one of the gifts of our yoga practice. It really teaches us to tune in, to take stock of what's happening physically, what our mental state is like. A few more good breaths here, just in a simple posture. Simple, but not easy. So basically, the hands down, wherever they're at. Inhale, take the arms out wide. Shoulder blades squeezing towards each other. Lift at that sternum. Hold on to that as you exhale and twist to the left. And then release, hands down. So we've been here before in our upper body, but our lower body is a little different. And as a result, you might feel the twist in some different places in your body. Couple more breaths. Deep inhale. Exhale, come back to center here. And then we're going to find that forward fold. So again, you can, hinge forward any amount. You might be pretty upright. That's okay. As long as you're feeling stretched, you're doing it right. This side might be different. If things are intense, again, check in with your face jaw, make sure there's a little sense of relaxation there, a little sense of ease. Couple more breaths. We're gonna inhale, lengthen forward. Lift your hands, and then next inhale, roll on up, nice work. Go ahead, come back to center, uncross. And let's move into some wave breath today. So as you'll recall, with our wave breath, we're gonna inhale just a little, and then exhale through the nose. And then the next breath, we're gonna inhale a little more, and then exhale. We're gonna inhale still more, exhale the breath out, and then we'll inhale our biggest, fullest breath yet, and then we'll exhale the air out. So you can think of this breath as the sets of waves on the ocean. They start rolling in as a group comes in. Each one is progressively bigger, so you can work with that image in your mind. So go ahead and find your nice tall seat. Allow your eyelids to close. Let's all take a deep inhale here together through our nose. Exhale through your nose. Sip in a little air. Exhale it out. Sip in a little more air. Exhale the breath out. A little more still. Exhale. And then your fullest, most complete breath. Exhale the air out through your nose. Normal inhale and exhale. Again, one more time like that. Just simple inhale. Simple exhale. Pause it empty. And sip in a little air. Exhale. Sip in a little more air. Exhale. Sip in more air still. Exhale. And then inhale all the way up. Exhale the breath out through your nose. Take a couple rounds of normal, easy breathing. And you're going to do 2 more full cycles like that on your own. So if working with, a set of 4 works good, you're welcome to stay there. If you wanted to work with 5, you could go there as well. So just at your own pace. When you're done, there's no rush to get there. You're just going to find a final relaxation pose. So nothing may change. You might just stay exactly where you're at. The thing that does change is the feeling, kind of the tone of the pose. So you're letting go of having control of your breath. You're letting your muscles feel nice and easy. You're always welcome to take a different position if that feels more relaxing to you. You could do a little child's pose if there's a desk or a chair in front of you. You can come into a classic Shavasana, so laying down on the floor if that's available to you. So just let go here, surrender. Just soak up all this good work you've done. Give your brain, your body the opportunity to assimilate everything we've been working on this past hour. And just as we started class in stillness, we end in stillness. It's to help us transition back into the rest of our day. So just here a few moments in Shavasana. Asato ma satgamaya, tamaso ma joy gamaya, mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Let your next inhale be deeper. You can open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. Ah. And just start to bring some gentle movement back to your body. So you can circle ankles, wrists, little fingers, toes, stretch out and up, whatever feels good here. And you'll eventually land with your hands in a pile on top of your heart. So sending yourself love and gratitude, sending your body love and gratitude. We send each other love and gratitude. Just acknowledging that it's a gift to be able to work like this together, to move like this. Finally, just promise yourself you're going to carry this good feeling with you into the rest of the day, week, weekend ahead. Finally, just bow your head with a smile. Beautiful work today, everybody. Good to see you. Happy spring.